Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Today, Tim and I are going to talk about the body. So I know he doesn't always know ahead of time what we're talking about.
We're talking about the body. Okay.
Talking about the body, because I think that something that we talk about all the time on this podcast and in therapy and coaching is the mind. We're always talking about the mind. We're always talking about the mind and emotions and feelings. But one thing that I think we don't talk about enough on the podcast, and I don't speak of it a whole lot, is how our emotions and our feelings and our past experiences affect our bodies. It's something that I want to illuminate and bring out, and something that maybe I'll have a real expert come on in the future to talk about body-based therapies and coaching, because this is a big part of who we are. Now, I will talk about it with my therapy clients and sometimes with my coaching clients, but like I said, not something that I speak about in general here on the podcast. And it's so important because the body plays a crucial role in how we experience and process stress. You cannot escape your body from your mind, from your emotions.
They're totally tied.
Yeah.
Totally tied
from
together.
Your spirituality.
Yeah.
It's all connected. And the body has a role in, like I just said, how we deal with stress, how we deal with anxiety. And it can also play a big part in our own personal growth and development.
I'm looking forward to this one. This will be interesting.
So where does this come from? Just real quickly, number one is Stephen Porges. He developed the theory of polyvagal theory. And I won't get into too much about what that is, because that would be like a CEU for all of you, a continuing education unit. But very quickly and briefly, the definition of polyvagal theory by Stephen Porges. It's a neurophysiological model that explains how the autonomic nervous system, particularly the vagus nerve, influences our social behavior and responses to perceived threats. So he focuses on the vagus nerve. And that's why we do talk about when we're feeling stressed or when we're feeling angry or anxious or sad. I'll ask a client, where do you feel this in your body? That's going back to this polyvagal theory. Where is it showing up in your body? Where do you feel it? Also, a well-known author, he's a well-known speaker now, Bessel van der Kolk, wrote the book, The Body Keeps the Score. It's a fantastic book, and it's all about trauma and where trauma is lying or sits in the body. So if you have never read that book and you have any sort of big T trauma or little T trauma in your life, that's a book I would recommend you pick up. The Body Keeps the Score.
So let me ask the question that everybody's asking right now.
Right.
So when you ask that question, where do you feel it? Where do they feel it? Where is it? Do they point? Do they tell you? Do they or is it?
I have them take a few seconds.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 15 seconds, 20 seconds, and people can pretty quickly figure out where it is. Some people will say, I don't know.
Okay.
And so that tells me that they're completely disassociated from their body. And you will see that with people who have experienced some serious trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder. You see it people who come from childhood abuse, sexual molestation, sexual assault. They don't know where they feel it because they have dissociated. So outside of that, and that is a process of taking time, and that's all polyvagal therapy. That's taking the time to get them to start to anchor into their bodies and just start in very small doses in the littlest of ways and start to get reconnected with what they feel, how they feel, and where it is in their body. When I ask clients today, and I'm not doing deep trauma work anymore, they can tell me, where is that anxiety? It's in my shoulders.
Okay.
It's in like my hips, like my butt. I'm like clenching my butt cheeks, like my butt's tight, my quads, my hamstrings. A lot of people will say it's in their stomach. Anxiety is in the stomach. My heart's racing. It can feel like panic. It can feel like in your chest, the solar plexus area, your chest. They will be able to say. Oftentimes, and I would get referrals from doctors. They'd seen a patient in the emergency room and they would run all the tests on them and they'd say, you're not having a heart attack. You really think you're going to die when you're having a panic attack. You really think, I'm having a heart attack. And lo and behold, after all the tests have been run through, you're not having a heart attack, you're having a panic attack. And you need to see somebody for that. You need to see a psychiatrist, maybe for some meds. You need to learn some new ways, some therapies of how to deal with this panic.
Yeah. Having it be in your chest makes total sense to me.
Very scary.
Because that affects potentially your breathing pattern, maybe the depth of breath that you can take. If there's some perceived pain, then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, that's a red flag. Like
Right.
that's something different. Maybe it's not, but it feels to you like it might be, right?
Panic disorders come to mind because that's physiological stress, that's psychological, that's physiological, and it's gone into the body. If you people who can't drive over bridges, I had a client many, many, many moons ago who in adulthood developed this panic disorder around driving over bridges, could not do her job, any kind of bridge on a highway. We're in a large city. She couldn't get to where she needed to get to for her job. So she needed help for that. She needed to learn a new way of being. So that for her, that was at that time a combination of meds and treatment. What about people who have phobias about leaving their home? People who have phobias of germs. Where is it? Where do you feel that in your body? Where do you get the ick? Especially with the germs, right?
Right. Like a pressure, like you get it sometimes. You'll get in your
Headaches.
in
There
your
you go.
head.
There you go,
Yeah.
everyone. Headaches.
Or even like the lower part of your back of your head. You'll
So
get
I
that.
carry it. So my stress and anxiety is carried in the muscles. I have a headache, and I went to see my primary care doc many years ago when I was in my early 20s. He actually was my neighbor. He's the sweetest man. And I had these terrible headaches in my sophomore year of college. And it was just stress of studies and all the things I had going on in my life at the time. And he said, you actually don't have headaches. You have muscle spasms. So he gave me a muscle relaxer, which actually helped. And he talked to me about ways of dealing with stress, which I really appreciated it because he took a holistic approach. And I still get it today. It's just how I'm wired. It's just something that I have to deal with. And I will, when it gets really bad, take an ibuprofen, which will help. But I try to massage it and I try to become aware, more importantly, of what's causing the stress. Why it's the muscles in the back of my neck that go up and they really go over your whole skull. So he said it's a tightening. It's like pulling on, it's like the muscle on your scalp, but pulling down into your neck. So I try to do relaxation techniques, things that will work for me. Usually I can get past it and I end up not taking an ibuprofen, but there are times when it's just bad and I have to take 200, 400 milligrams of ibuprofen. So yeah, that is where I carry my stress, sometimes in my shoulders, but it's always going to be in the back of my neck, those muscles.
Right.
For you who are listening and watching, think about where you carry your stress. Where does it show up in your body? If there's trauma, where does it show up in your body? And like I said earlier, if you have big T trauma, you're not going to want to do this. You're going to need to be in a psychologically safe environment. You're going to need to be with a trained professional who can help you through this. Some people have to do maybe some EMDR first. There's different treatments for trauma, but they're not going to feel it. Once again, their body doing them the favor in a way, protecting them. That's their self-preservation that is still kicked in. We're not going to do that because there's been a violation. There's been something that's happened. So we're going to shut it down and we're not going there.
That's interesting.
It's protecting you.
Yeah.
Where do you carry your stress?
I don't have stress.
Yes, you do. You were stressed this morning before we started recording.
I don't know. That's a good question. I would have to say it's probably, I'm not aware of it, to be honest, but like if I had to think about it deeply, I would say it's probably like right here, side of my head.
Your temples.
Yeah. That would be a spot, I guess I would maybe feel it. I don't know. I don't really think about it that much.
And I think a lot of people hold stress in their breathing patterns, not breathing all the way through. And it's something that we are not even aware of. When you think about when you get angry or you've had a disconcerting conversation with someone and you're all up in your head about an interaction that occurred with someone at work or in your family, think about your breath. We don't do it because it's just autonomic. It's automatic.
Yeah.
And we tend to shorten our breaths. We tend to not breathe properly. This is years and years and years ago. And I had someone in my office who was dealing with a lot of trauma, but it was trauma from the childhood. It was more about a neglect. This person was neglected and this person was really not seen, air quotes seen, meaning there was very little to no emotional availability to this client who, at the time that I saw them, they were 17 years old. And we're dealing with an eating disorder. We're getting better from the eating disorder, but really, really primarily was dealing with a major depressive disorder. And come to find out that the original reason why this person came to me for therapy for the eating disorder, they got better from. But then as time goes on, you get to know the person better. You see there's this massive depression here. And much of it has to do with their family of origin. And they were still, I think, end of junior year, beginning of senior year in high school. I ended up seeing this person for all the way through college and then would come back to see me every now and then, really for a check-in as the years went on. And it's an amazing success story, of somebody fighting for their mental health and fighting for wellness. This person now is thriving in the mental wellness space, actually thriving, and is just someone I'm so, so, so proud of. And if I talk about this person long enough, I'll start crying, because just to watch somebody's complete transformation with their mental health and wellness is really amazing. But I'll never forget, way back in one of those early sessions in the early years, they would come in and would just start crying about something that they remember from their childhood, or something that had maybe even occurred that week with a parent. And this is pretty bad neglect. And it would just make me mad, because I thought to myself, how are you not paying attention to this child, what this child needs? This teenager was like a problem teenager. And we had this breakthrough moment when they were really starting to cry. And I could see that this person wanted to let it out, but they'd been holding for so many years, like this holding in. Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. And I could see the body posture on the couch starting to hunch over, sort of like moving down, like kind of hunching into the couch, this curvature of the back, in a way starting to surrender and probably feeling weakened by the emotion that they were overcome by. I saw the fight. I saw this person fighting. And I didn't know a lot at that time about somatic therapy. And it was almost instinctual. She had her lips pursed together, like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. And I said, open your mouth. And here came this guttural cry.
Wow.
And this guttural, it's hard to even explain.
Yeah. It's a moment. That's a life-altering moment for that person.
Yeah, it's a her. It's fine. You all have no idea who these people are, and I make sure you have no idea who they are. A moment of change, of starting to really confront and deal with the trauma.
Yeah.
It was fascinating to watch, and it was, open your mouth, let's breathe. Now let's breathe through this. Breathe through this. That was truly the fork in the road, and she went in this direction, and that was the beginning of really doing the trauma work and processing the past. Because it was depression. Many people, there's a biochemical predisposition to a major depressive disorder, or genetic, and you do need meds. And I don't care, anybody who's out there who's listening, I will die on this hill. There are people who need meds for depression. And anybody out there who says all you have to do is eat and get your sleep and work out, yes, I agree with you. But not everybody fits into that round hole. Some people have a genetic predisposition. Some people deal with or just have massive trauma and they need meds. I have family members, I know people, clients who will probably need to be on meds for the rest of their lives. Their neurons are not firing in their brain the way maybe somebody else's. So yes, most people that I start with my clients, let's start with the food. Let's start with the nutrition, the exercise, the sleeping.
Yeah.
Let's start with maybe some meditation and some time alone. Let's do all the things. And if after many weeks, there's not a change, we together, and I don't tell people what to do. That's not my job. I bring it up, recommend it. The client's usually already thinking about it themselves. Like, yeah, maybe it is time to go to a psychiatric consultation for some meds. So that's important. So this person, they came out of that depression as the years went by. It was really learning to feel where it was, to process the emotions, of course, and the feelings.
But years, you're talking about years of time.
But no, feeling where it was in her body.
Yeah,
right.
Interesting.
Well, we'll talk about this, different ways of looking at stress in your body and what you can do. So we'll just go ahead and get into it.
Cool.
Just the way you're looking at me, Tim, like this is not your thing.
It's good though.
You know nothing about this.
I don't. It's not my background.
Okay.
It's not my background at all.
So this is for people, the watchers and the listeners who are like you, who know very little, because this is something that I think so many of us incorporate into our sessions, but we don't talk about it a whole lot. Daylight savings takes effect on March 9th, and it's the perfect time for you to optimize your morning routine now that more sunlight is greeting you in the morning. Enter AG1. Listen, unlike other supplements that come and go, AG1 is a habit that actually sticks because you can feel the difference. There are days when I don't perfectly get in all my fruits and vegetables, but AG1 keeps me going with energy. It's helping with my skin, and it's helping me get that great sleep that you all know I preach about all the time. And unlike other supplements that make big claims without the research, AG1 is formulated based on the latest science in nutrition and wellness. So when it comes to my health and hopefully to yours, I want something that I and all of you can trust. And that's why I choose AG1. With science-backed ingredients and real benefits, I can feel AG1 makes it easy to support overall wellness every day. And that's why I've been partnering with AG1 for so many years. And AG1 is offering new subscribers a free $76 gift when you sign up. You'll get a welcome kit, a bottle of D3 and K2, and 5 free travel packs in your first box. So make sure to check out drinkag1.com/Anna to get this offer. That's drinkag1.com/Anna to start your new year on a healthier note. So how do you start? How do you begin to, let's say you've got stress. Maybe you realize that you're in a season of poor stress management. Like I'm not doing a great job of dealing with the stress in my life. I've got a lot on my plate and I'm freaking stressed out all the time. And I never want to go out and see my friends because I got work to do or I'm exhausted or whatever it might be. You all can think about what's happening in your own lives. One way to start to pay attention to what's happening is to do body scans. So I learned this in undergrad and I still do this. So what is it? It's when you spend a few minutes just really in a comfortable seated position, or maybe you want to lie down and you're mentally scanning each part of your body from head to toe, just mentally scanning. And this is what I do in meditation, which I love. This is a part of my daily meditation. Just notice your body from your toes to the top of your head. Do you feel tension? What do you feel? Where do you feel it? And this helps because it deliberately has you noticing tension in your body, maybe warmth in your body, or maybe where the discomfort is, okay? It's teaching you to tune in to the subtle cues that your body is sending you, because our bodies are always sending us subtle cues. The problem is our conscious mind, we're ignoring it most days.
Probably almost every day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Most people are.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like, all right, there's moments in the business world where what you're describing, this exercise, should probably happen. There should be a pause in the heat of the moment, whatever it is. There's a negotiation, there's a big, heavy meeting with a heavy topic, and it's like, pause, we're taking 10 minutes.
Well, you say, and I've heard you with our family, and you've said it to me, like, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Because you probably see my breath is shortening, maybe my voice is going up. I've seen you.
Your voice will go up and you'll talk quicker.
And I actually see you purse your lips. Like you're like, there's something going on in your body, but I'll see it visually on you and your lips look pursed.
Yeah.
Like I told you, you look like Mrs. Puff, the driving teacher from SpongeBob.
What? Mrs. Puff?
Isn't that her name, the driving teacher?
I don't know, but I'm going to look it up. That's cool.
She gets really stressed out and then she blows up because she's a puffer fish.
That's hilarious.
Okay. So how do you practice these body scans? Begin at the top of your head. And slowly just pay attention to the top of your head. Close your eyes. It's almost like your third eye. Pay attention and then move down. Slowly move your attention downward and take note of any sensations in your body without judging. Don't judge it. Just notice, 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 notice. That's a great way to start. Just start with paying attention to your body.
Are you recommending somebody be sitting down for this? Lying down for this?
Yeah,
What's the best?
I just said you could do either. I sit in a chair. I sit upright in a comfortable chair. If I lie down and do this, I will fall asleep. And I know that.
It's a benefit, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's not great when it's 6:30 in the morning. You have to get up.
Right.
You know, if I get up and I go back and I get ready or make the bed or whatever, and I go back and lie down, I may fall back to sleep. So I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So for me, sitting upright in a chair is best. I used to do this in my office. So it was perfect there. I wouldn't lie on the couch in my own office because I was afraid I'd fall asleep, because I can fall asleep very quickly. And this is very relaxing. But notice where you're feeling any tension. But notice where you're feeling like, oh, that feels good today. That hamstring, I pulled that, my knee, I don't feel anything on my knee right now. No, it's okay. There's a niggle. There's something in my ankle. That's what that is when I rolled it the other day. Just start to pay attention.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, a takeaway is that you could do this on your own pretty much anywhere.
Just don't do it while you're driving.
Well, I'm thinking like at work. Like if you're in the middle of something that's stressing you out.
Right.
Take a second, close your door, walk away, whatever it might be, and you can go through these exercises that you're describing with yourself, and probably you benefit tremendously on the backside of it.
It'll chill you out.
Yeah.
Probably will chill you out a little bit, especially if you're keyed up about something.
Right.
So number 2, use breath as your anchor. So these are simple breathing exercises like box breathing, which I'll tell you in a second what it is. Just helps you to calm your nervous system. Why does it help? Conscious breathing reduces stress hormones and shifts you from fight or flight to a more relaxed state. So what's box breathing? Box breathing is inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Okay. So it's in for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 at the top, 1, 2, 3, 4 out, 4, 4. And then hold for 4 at the exhale, and then do it again. That can help to calm you. I don't do that as much. I do the one that I learned many years ago from a sports performance psychologist. This is how I teach all my clients. I like this. Breathe in for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Take 2 more sips at the top, 2 more little ones. Hold it for 4. Breathe it out. That changes your physiology. That's going to calm you. So the way I learned this, and I've said it here on the podcast before, the way I've learned this, it's like our evolutionary Cro-Magnon Neanderthal brains. They haven't changed that much versus 2 million years ago where we're running away from a saber-toothed tiger to try to save our lives. Now we've got current 2025 stresses of trying to save our jobs or whatever it might be. You all can think about the stress in your lives. It's the same thing. The brain is still the same in that way. You're taking 4 breaths in. It's like you're running from something. Take 2 more sips at the top, hold it for 4 seconds. You hid behind a tree, the tiger ran past you. Gone.
Relax.
You're safe. The tiger's gone, you're safe.
Yeah.
That's how I learned it, and that's how I still do it, okay? So you can do box breathing. Just look that up. That's everywhere on Google. I won't go over that again. Or you can do what I just taught you, okay? But use your breath as an anchor. It really does get you out of fight or flight, all right? It moves you out into a more relaxed state. Pick a short practice, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and do it several times a day. Maybe when you wake up, maybe before bed, or maybe, like you said, breaks at work or breaks in the middle of your day.
Yeah. There's so many times throughout your week where this could come into play.
Just start paying attention to your breath.
Yeah.
That's what I find amazing. When I do this with clients, I'll say, how's your breathing right now? Like, what? Like, I don't know. Like, why ask me? Why ask me that? Because that's the beginning of starting to get them to be aware of their breath.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. If you have children, if you have pets, if you have somebody in your life that gets you going, there's moments that present.
There's people that get us going.
Right?
Yeah,
but there's so many moments that present themselves where it's like, okay, take a second. Don't react quickly.
Well, you say that all the time.
Yeah, just take a second.
Right.
And chill. And then
chill means to breathe.
Move. Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. Okay. The next is to incorporate mindful movement. All right. So my yogis, you're all going to love this. Activities like yogi, tai chi, a walking meditation, or gentle stretching that emphasizes slow, intentional movement. And why does it help? Moving mindfully, it strengthens the connection between your mind and your body. It improves your balance, actually, and releases built-up tension. Anybody who has a yoga practice or a Tai Chi practice, you know what I'm talking about. But find what works for you, okay? So mindful movement, you have to really find what speaks to you or your niche, because for me, I went to a meditation conference years ago, and there was different speakers throughout the day. And one of the last speakers took us outside, and we were walking in this labyrinth, and that was the walking meditation. And I had such a hard time with it. I think I like yoga better because it's movement. Me and my ADHD brain.
You have to move a little bit.
You have to walk so slow. Like, I wish I could show you all. Like, take a step. You look down and you watch your foot, your leg moving forward. You put your foot down and then notice your other leg picking up. And
that's not going to work for you.
Putting that foot. I'm like, can we hurry this up? Can we hurry it up? Can we hurry this up?
That's not working.
I'm like, can we, when's this over? When's this over? Like, it just did not fit for me. Yoga is great. Love yoga. And a walking meditation, just a normal walking meditation works.
Yeah.
But there were people who really loved that the slower one. And I think of the labyrinth because that's what labyrinths were for. Didn't labyrinths come from the Protestant religion in Europe?
You're going way back.
Yeah, they did. Well, they did. They
came
from, I think they came from Europe. They were these cool circular, you've seen the labyrinth, the Episcopalian church down the road from us has one. And you would walk in there and it was prayer. It was slow prayer. I just couldn't walk that slow. So find what works for you. So start with 5 or 10 minutes of just maybe easy stretching or a beginner friendly yoga class, like a vinyasa flow sequence, and just focusing on your body's movements. Don't aim for perfection. There's never perfection. I see this sometimes in yoga. Just be with yourself. Take time to really get into your body and notice what your body is doing.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful way to distract yourself. It's very, very present, a very in the moment
You have
activity.
to be.
You have to pay
You
attention.
have to be. Yeah.
Which is wonderful because it does help people move out of anxiety because you're focused on the here and now, this moment right now.
So during COVID, we did a lot of virtual fitness, right? I mean, that was the nature of it for a while.
Right.
So I would go in and out because I was the one that was like basically running the electronics behind the classes for the people, right? But we did some guided meditation classes. And I had never done that stuff before, but I'm like in there because I'm just making sure that the computer system's working, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I would like get into some of these classes and be like, you know what? It's guided meditation. Never tried it. Let's just try it. And so I'd be like lying on the ground and listening to, I was like, this is outstanding. And a couple of times I actually nodded off. I was like, whoa, oh my God.
I'm supposed to be working.
I'm supposed to be working.
See, there you go.
Yeah, but it does work. And it does make you think because they walk you through like points of recognition throughout your entire body to think about things.
Well, you all know if you've ever had an amazing massage, if you've ever went to a spa and with the music and the oils and the smells, if you've ever been a great yoga class with some meditation at the end. That's what I'm saying. Like the walking meditation, the very slow walking wasn't for me, but there are many, many ways. When I do my meditation in the morning, there are times when it's like, whoa, I have to get out of this because I'm like, okay, I'm like really good.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm really in a nice headspace right now and I just want to stay here.
Right.
Meditation for me has become that. And anybody who's a client of mine, you know, because I'm always encouraging my clients to meditate and just start with 5 minutes. And now I'll do 20 minutes, but the problem is now I don't want to leave it. I want to stay and I want to just continue to be in that wonderful, wonderful space I'm in my mind. All this to say, you're learning to, first of all, give your body a chance to just kind of chill out and relax. And you're giving into it by relaxing and letting your mind quiet down for a second. It'll all be there in 5 minutes. It'll all be there in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, it was just awareness. Like you just become aware, like, because your eyes are closed, you're listening, you're being guided, and somebody's just like talking you through it. And you're like, okay, be aware of that.
Right.
Be aware of that. Be aware of that.
So needed.
Yeah.
And the next is to think about journaling your physical sensations and your emotions. So after maybe you've done maybe a 5 or 10 minute meditation, or maybe you've come back from a yoga class, or you've done one on your own at home. So journaling physical sensations, this is a body-based practice like a body scan or mindful movement. What you're doing is you're just jotting down any feelings, sensations, or insights that came up for you. Sometimes you can have amazing insights about your life, your work, your relationships, something that you've been struggling with, you can't disentangle yourself from. It is amazing when you allow your body to really relax like this, you come up with an idea or something is illuminated for you. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's cool to see. Why does this help? Because when you log your experiences, it helps you to identify patterns. Do you get tense before certain events? I always get tense. Like we just talked about earlier, I always get the tension in the muscles in the back of my neck when I'm stressed out, something in my life. You know, does your posture change with stress? How do you practice this? Just keep it really simple. Just a few lines on what you felt physically, tightness in shoulders, maybe your breath was shallow, and emotionally, where were you? Yeah, I was feeling anxious. I'm feeling calm. I was feeling restless. And maybe you're thinking to yourself, I'm still feeling kind of anxious. It's not the number 8, like I always do, like a scale of 1 to 10. And clients will say, no, it wasn't an 8. It came down to like a 5 or 4. It's not gone. But that's okay. That's okay. It's not gone. Well, you got a lot going on in your life right now. So I wouldn't think it'd be a 1 or a 0. That's not realistic. But if it's a 4, that's pretty good. And maybe you feel less restless, but you still have a little bit of it in you, you know?
Yeah. That makes sense.
But at least it's telling you something. You're learning from your body.
Yeah.
And then the next is really to observe and adjust your posture throughout the day. This is really big. Periodically check whether you're slouching, tenching your shoulders, or holding your breath. Just really start to just kind of like tap into your body. Like I will notice when I'm tired. I will notice when I've been working on something for too long. I'll slouch and I'll actually start.
You sink down.
I sink down.
Yeah.
You see it. You see it when I sit at my desk. I sink down. And also I'll see my back, like the letter C. I'll start to really like curve my spine, curve my vertebrae. My shoulders are forward. That's a slouching. Not good. And so I'll tell myself, okay, you're tired. Get up. You got to take a 5-minute break. Go to the bathroom. Go get some water. Go get it, whatever. It might be a cup of coffee and put your shoulders back. You just got to take a break. So pay attention to that. It really does help. And if you're feeling stressed or you're worried about giving a talk or talking to your boss or whatever, walking into an event, a social gathering, this is me with the confidence person. Head up, shoulders back, everybody. Stand up straight, put those shoulders back and put your head up. Even if you don't feel like it, this is the one time I want you to, because your brain listens to what your body does. Oh, we're feeling confident. We got this. We got this. Smile, head up, eyes up, shoulders back.
Yeah.
It is game changing.
Yeah.
Game changing.
Yeah.
There's one thing I could tell you all to do. It's that.
I don't have a chair in my office. I sit on a stability ball if I sit, or I have a standing desk, because I'm aware that like if I sit like that, first of all, that makes me tired just sitting, and you kind of like drift, like you get too comfortable with being stagnant, like doing nothing.
Sedentary,
So that's one thing. And then somebody else I used to work with, different location, but they took a broomstick and they did what you're saying, where they like did like shoulders back, chest out.
You had to put it behind your arms.
And they put it here.
Yes.
They would sit
yes.
like that.
Yeah.
And they would like stand. It makes you, like, you cannot fake that.
Yep.
But if you do that for like 30 seconds or something like that, all of a sudden it's like, bam, you snap right out of whatever it is had you before.
When I was first learning to ride dressage, when I went out horseback riding, so it's a form of equitation, the instructors would put the broomsticks behind us, and you're on the back of a horse. And the reason why they would do it is because everybody's slouching forward, because everybody's going a little fetal in the beginning, because you're a little nervous. You're on a horse and you're sitting a trot, you're mostly trotting, but maybe cantering. But you would see people who would slouch forward because it's primal for us to go fetal to protect ourselves. You're on the back of this 1,400-pound animal that could kill you. And it was terrifying in the beginning. They put the broom behind you and you had to hold your reins like this, because that's the position for dressage. You had to trot and you had to canter on that horse with that broomstick behind your arms. Oh my gosh.
That's tough.
It's tough.
It's tough just to stand there and do that.
But it's over time, it was empowering. Head up, shoulders back, in this case on a horse. Head up, shoulders back when you're walking into a bar because you're going to see a bunch of people that you haven't seen in a while. Head up, shoulders back when you're going into a staff meeting or you're going to a board meeting. Game changing. This is so important. I think it's like the most important thing. You're on your computer for hours at a time, or you're on your phone a lot. Do your best to remember to sit up straight, relax your jaw, release the tension. Really important. Additionally, I have to say this. So if you have a history of trauma, or if you've got a history of chronic pain, really consider working with a trauma-informed somatic therapist or even a coach, someone who specializes in this, okay? So I'm going to say this. I think that if you've got trauma, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, chronic CPTSD, chronic post-traumatic stress disorder, the big T's, I would see a licensed mental health therapist who's trained in trauma. It's going to be my bias. It's always going to be my bias. A trauma-informed person. There are some good people out there. There's my bias, and you guys might get mad at me for saying that, but I'm saying it. If you have maybe some little T traumas, not anything that really is stopping you up in your present day life, you can certainly see a somatic or trauma-informed coach. But do seek consultation and get help for it. More than just let this podcast just be the jumping off point for you with trauma or chronic pain, okay? You deserve and you need additional help with that. So it's important to pace yourself. It's really normal to feel totally unfamiliar and awkward when you first start doing this, whether it be the body scans or the meditation or anything we've talked about in this episode. Give yourself permission to just go slow and celebrate the small victories. And go to a beginning yoga class, go to a flow, see what your body can do for you. It can do amazing things, and see where tension shows up, see where stress shows up, or don't, or just take some time by yourself and just sit in a chair for 5 minutes and take a body scan. Look at your body in your mind. We call it the mind's eye, the third eye. Just go down and where's our tension? Where's our stress? How long has it been there? Why is it there, do I think? You know why. We all at some level do know why it's there, okay? So stay curious. We call them practices. Approach each practice, the 5 minutes of sitting in your chair and doing the body scan, with curiosity instead of judge it. Don't judge it, all right? Just be curious about, that has been there for a while. Wonder what that's about. Why is that still there? Why does it just not seem to heal, okay? This is so important, and we don't talk about it enough. I think we don't speak about it enough to the general public. And it's a huge part because our whole lives, who we are as human beings, it's the mind, the body, and the spirit, right? So the mind, that's your emotions, it's your emotionality, it's your psychology, it's your mentality, it's the way you think. This is what we're talking about today is the body and your spirituality. All of that combined makes us who we are. And I think that we sometimes talk too much about mentality, psychology. We don't talk enough about spirituality, and we don't talk enough about the body. And so that's what today's episode's about.
Yeah.
All right. So if you want to work with me, you know where to find me. hello@annamarcolene.com. And as always, please don't forget to rate and review the podcast with 5 stars. All right, everyone.
All right. Good stuff.
Hope that this was helpful. Mad love to all of you. See you next time.